So thousands of years ago, right, there's this Egyptian pharaoh.
Yeah.
And they are buried out in the desert. But they have this piece of lapis lazuli resting like directly over their heart.
Right.
And it was put there deliberately. It was functioning as this kind of, like a spiritual armor, I guess you could call it.
Exactly. A very specific type of armor.
Right. Something meant to protect them and kind of guide their soul through this incredibly perilous journey into the afterlife.
Yeah, that was the intention.
But then, fast forward to today, Tuesday evening, and you have a stressed out corporate executive in some high-rise apartment.
Oh, totally different world.
Completely. And she's carefully placing a piece of purple amethyst under her pillow.
To cure insomnia, probably.
Exactly. She's trying to cure her insomnia before a huge board meeting the next day. And when you stop and just, look at that picture, you really have to ask yourself a question.
Which is?
What is the invisible thread connecting a pharaoh's tomb in antiquity to, a modern-day bedroom?
It is a profound question because on the surface, those two scenarios seem entirely disconnected.
Right. They have nothing in common.
Exactly. I mean, one is steeped in the heavy mythology of the ancient world. It's about the literal mechanics of death and the afterlife.
Yeah.
And the other, the modern one, is just a desperate plea for a good night's sleep in the middle of this hyper-connected, modern capitalist society.
It's just someone trying to survive a Tuesday.
Exactly. Yet, if you look closer, the underlying behavioral mechanism is the same. It's this deep human impulse to look at a piece of the earth, a rock, essentially, and assign it immense transformative power.
Which perfectly brings us to today's deep dive because, for you listening, we have a massive, and I mean massive stack of source material in front of us today.
It's basically an encyclopedia.
It really is. It's this comprehensive encyclopedia of crystal rituals, and this text covers everything. I mean, from the deep historical roots of crystal use across, various empires.
To very highly specific step-by-step instructions.
Right. Instructions for rituals covering pretty much every single facet of the human experience.
Yeah. We are looking at rituals designed to heal a broken heart.
Which is wild.
Rituals for suppressing appetite.
Yep.
Manifesting wealth. Cultivating ambition.
And even integrating your personal goals with these massive cosmic events like solar eclipses.
Right. And our mission for this deep dive, the reason we're unpacking all of this, is to decode the actual architecture of these practices.
Because the text makes it really abundantly clear, right? This isn't just about going to a boutique and buying pretty stones.
No, not at all. You don't just buy them and leave them to gather dust on a shelf.
Right.
What we are examining here is a highly structured, very rigorous framework for mindfulness.
Yeah.
It's a system of intention setting. And it's a method for reestablishing a literal, tactile, human connection to natural elements.
So whether you are listening to this because you are insanely curious about holistic practices, or, I don't know, maybe you are actively looking for new mindfulness techniques just to quiet your brain.
Which a lot of people are.
Exactly. Or maybe you just want to understand this massive cultural phenomenon of crystal healing. Our goal today is to unpack exactly how and why these rituals are structured to promote personal transformation.
Because there is a structure. It's not random.
Right. Okay, let's unpack this. Because to truly understand why that modern executive is putting the amethyst under her pillow, we cannot just look at the stone itself.
No, you have to look at the history.
We have to look at the historical weight of the practice. And the source material actually spends a significant amount of time tracing these roots back to ancient civilizations.
Yeah, it builds a very solid foundation.
And it makes a really compelling case that this wasn't just some fringe hobby for them. It was central to how these cultures conceptualize life, death, and power.
Right.
You brought up the Egyptians earlier, which is exactly where the text starts.
The Egyptians are honestly the perfect baseline because their use of crystals was just incredibly systematic. Well, the text highlights that they didn't merely wear crystals for aesthetic purposes. It wasn't like, ancient fast fashion.
Right. They weren't just trying to look good.
No. They utilized specific stones like lapis lazuli, turquoise, and carnelian with absolute rigorous intentionality.
Yeah.
These stones were mined and cut and crafted into very specific amulets. But more profoundly, like you mentioned in the introduction, they were integral to the actual burial rites.
The journey to the afterlife.
Exactly. They buried their dead with these specific stones based on what they believed were their energetic properties.
So let's dig into that intentionality, because the text says the lapis lazuli was used for protection and guidance into the next realm.
Right.
And I'm really trying to wrap my head around that mindset. It almost sounds like ancient civilizations treated crystals almost like early USB drives.
Oh, that's an interesting way to put it.
Well, think about it. Like, they were storing specific cultural meanings, prayers, and protective data in a physical object. An object you could literally carry with you.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So you hold the lapis lazuli, and you're essentially holding the guidance to the afterlife file.
That is an exceptional analogy, actually. You are uploading a very specific, culturally agreed upon intention into a tangible physical object.
Right.
And what's fascinating here is that the text proves this isn't just an isolated Egyptian phenomenon.
No, it pops up everywhere.
Exactly. If we move across the globe and look at Eastern spiritual practices, the source material details the exact same reverence, even if the practical application shifts a bit.
Like in Hinduism, right?
Yes. In Hinduism, the text notes that crystals are considered integral sources of energy. They aren't just symbolic at all.
They're functional.
Highly functional. They are viewed as literal batteries of cosmic power used in ceremonies to direct energy.
Wow. And then the text transitions over to Buddhism, where the application becomes much more, well, internal, I guess.
Yeah, very internal.
Because in Buddhist traditions, crystals symbolize purity and enlightenment. But again, they aren't just worn as jewelry. They are used as tangible focal points to enhance spiritual awareness during meditation.
Precisely. In the Buddhist context, the crystal acts as an anchor for the wandering mind.
Right, to stop the mental chatter.
Exactly. When you are meditating and trying to achieve a state of emptiness or a state of high awareness, having a physical, pure object to direct your focus toward is a profound cognitive tool.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
The text also brings up Japan's Shinto beliefs.
Oh, right.
Where crystals are deeply integrated into rituals and artistic expressions. In Shintoism, which is deeply animistic, crystals symbolize a profound, unbreakable connection to nature.
To the earth itself.
Yes, to nature and the spiritual world. They represent the crystallized essence of the earth itself.
So if we look at the big picture here, we have the Egyptians using them as spiritual armor for the afterlife.
Right.
We have Hindus using them as energetic batteries, Buddhists using them as cognitive anchors for enlightenment, and Shinto practitioners using them as physical manifestations of nature spirits.
Yeah, it's incredibly widespread.
We are talking about vastly diverse cultures. I mean, completely separated by vast oceans, mountain ranges, and centuries of time.
Entirely isolated from one another.
Right.
Yeah.
Yet they all independently looked at these stones and collectively decided this is a conduit for something larger than ourselves.
Yes. And that independent, simultaneous discovery across all these cultures, it tells us something really vital about human psychology.
What does it tell us?
It tells us that modern crystal rituals are not a new, trendy invention. You know, they aren't just some fad.
Right.
They are a continuation of a profound, ancient human impulse. We have always possessed this impulse to find stability, meaning, and a sense of grounding by projecting our internal desires onto the natural world.
Which brings us right back to the modern executive with the amethyst.
Right.
The text makes the point that in our fast-paced, chronically online society, this ancient reverence has resurged as a holistic healing practice, one that really emphasizes self-care.
Because we need it more than ever.
Yeah, we are exhausted. We are completely overwhelmed by digital information. So reaching for a heavy, cool piece of the earth isn't necessarily about casting a magic spell, right?
No, not at all.
It's about finding an analog anchor in a digital storm.
That's a beautiful way to put it. The environment has changed drastically, but the mechanism, your analogy of the USB drive of intention, it remains perfectly intact.
Yeah.
We're still searching for that exact same stability that the ancients sought.
Okay, I buy the historical through line. I think that makes total sense.
Yeah.
And I understand the psychological comfort of holding an object that represents a goal. But the text is very, very clear that there is a massive gap between owning a historical artifact and actually performing a ritual.
Oh, a massive gap.
Like, the source material doesn't just say, buy a rock and feel better.
No, it's not passive.
Not at all. It breaks down the actual mechanics of this practice. And frankly, I was shocked by how rigorous it is.
It is surprisingly strict.
Yeah. I mean, we know the Egyptians trusted these stones for the afterlife, but today we can barely trust ourselves to sit still for 10 minutes.
Very true.
So how does the source actually instruct a modern distracted person to interact with a crystal so it's not just an expensive paperweight?
Well, the source outlines a very rigid architecture. It details this 10-step framework that basically forms the backbone of almost every single ritual described in the text.
10 steps.
10 steps. And it demands your absolute active participation.
Okay, walk me through them.
The steps are setting an intention, choosing the right crystal, cleansing the stone, creating a sacred space, grounding yourself, meditating, using verbal affirmations, incorporating complex practices like grids.
Which we definitely need to talk about.
Oh, we will. And then the last two are maintaining regular practice and finally expressing gratitude.
It's a literal blueprint.
It is.
But I want to zero in on the preparation phase, specifically that cleansing and charging step you mentioned.
Ah, yes.
Because the text emphasizes this heavily. Before you do anything, before you meditate, before you set an intention, you have to cleanse the crystal.
Right, to remove any accumulated energies.
And the methods the text provides for this are incredibly specific.
They are highly sensory methods.
Yeah.
The source details smudging the crystal, which basically means passing it through the smoke of burning herbs or resins.
Right.
And it specifically recommends using dragon's blood, frankincense, or sandalwood.
Which all have very strong scents.
Very strong. Alternatively, it suggests rinsing the crystal under natural running water, provided the mineral composition is actually water safe.
Because some of them dissolve, right?
Exactly.
Eh.
Or charging it by leaving it out in direct sunlight or the light of a full moon.
Wait, let's pause right there.
Okay.
Because I understand the psychological framing of a ritual. I get the smells, the smoke. But charging a rock in the moonlight?
I know where you're going with this.
My rational brain is just screaming that this is pure placebo.
Sure.
If we look at this through a purely material lens, how does the source actually justify moonlight doing anything to the physical structure of a mineral?
Well, the text frames it as an energetic reset.
Mm-hmm.
But let's look at the underlying mechanics of what the practitioner is actually doing here.
Okay.
You are absolutely right to bring up the placebo effect. But in the realm of psychology, the placebo effect is not a failure.
What do you mean?
It is a demonstration of the mind's incredible power to alter reality through belief and action. So when the text instructs you to cleanse a stone in the moonlight, think about the physical and psychological requirements of that act.
Okay, so you have to wait for nightfall, where you have to actually track the lunar cycle to know when the moon is going to be full.
Exactly.
You have to physically take the stone outside, you feel the night air, you place it deliberately in the light.
Yes. By physically taking the time to do all that, we're taking the time to burn dragon's blood incense, which has this heavy, potent scent that immediately engages your olfactory system.
Right.
Or meticulously planning to leave a stone under the moonlight.
Yeah.
The practitioner is engaging in a massive cognitive pattern interrupt.
Oh, I see.
You are cleansing your own mental slate. The physical act of cleansing the stone actually mirrors the psychological transition you are trying to achieve in yourself.
Wow. Okay.
You are telling your nervous system, we are shifting gears, we are clearing out the noise of the emails, the traffic, the stress of the day. We are starting fresh.
So if I just buy a crystal on a Tuesday, take it out of the Amazon box and just plop it on my nightstand, the source implies that is absolutely not a ritual.
Not at all.
The ritual is the active sensory engagement. It's the difference between owning a guitar and actually sitting down to tune the strings, adjust your posture, and play it.
Yes.
The cleansing is the tuning.
That is exactly the distinction the text makes.
Yeah.
And once you have tuned the instrument, you move to the first official cognitive step.
Which is setting an intention.
Right. The text requires writing down or verbally stating exactly what you want.
Out loud.
Or written, but it has to be concrete. Not a vague wish, but a direct statement like, I seek clarity in my career, or I want to heal from this specific rejection.
It anchors the mind.
Completely.
It forces you to articulate a desire that might otherwise just be floating around in your subconscious as like generalized anxiety.
Exactly. It forces total focus. And once that focus is achieved, the text introduces one of the most complex applications of this entire architecture.
The grids.
Crystal grids. This isn't just holding a stone anymore. This is where you arrange multiple different crystals in specific, often highly complex geometric patterns around a central primary stone.
Yeah, I read that section and I was just struck by how much time and precision a crystal grid actually requires.
It's a lot of work.
You have to design the geometry, maybe a mandala or a hexagonal shape. You have to choose complementary stones. So maybe you have a quartz in the center and it's surrounded by amethyst and citrine.
Exactly. And the text states this is done to amplify their collective energy.
But for you listening, think about how rare that level of singular focus is today.
Very rare.
In an era of constant vibrating notifications, dedicating a physical space in your home and dedicating maybe 20 minutes just to focus on a single clear intention while carefully arranging tangible, heavy objects.
It's powerful.
It's a massive mindfulness shortcut. I mean, you literally cannot be scrolling on your phone if you're using both hands to carefully balance a geometric grid of stones on your floor.
No, you can't. It demands absolute presence. It utilizes what we might call sacred geometry.
Right.
These are patterns that the human brain naturally finds soothing and organizing. Staring at chaos like a messy room or a crowded inbox that drains our cognitive load.
Oh, absolutely.
But staring at a perfectly symmetrical geometric pattern that you built with your own hands, that rests the visual cortex.
That makes a lot of sense.
It brings you entirely into the current moment, which is the foundational goal of any effective mindfulness practice. The grid acts as a visual external map of your own internal organized mind.
Wow. Okay, so we know how to tune the instrument through cleansing.
Right.
We know how to focus our attention through intention setting and building these grids.
Yes.
Now, let's look at how the source actually applies this energy to our internal landscape.
Our physical and emotional bodies.
Exactly, because the text goes incredibly deep into what it refers to as internal alchemy.
It really does. Because before you can change your external world, the rituals demand that you stabilize your internal world first.
Okay, so where do we start with that?
Let's begin with the concept of internal stability, or what the text calls grounding.
Grounding.
Yeah. The source describes a very specific grounding meditation using smoky quartz.
Okay.
The practitioner sits comfortably, holds this dense, dark stone, and is instructed to visualize roots extending from the base of their spine, pushing through the floorboards, and going deep down into the soil of the earth.
And the text doesn't just leave it at visualization either.
No, it doesn't.
It offers a literal physical application. It recommends taking a piece of bloodstone, going outside, and walking barefoot on raw soil or grass.
Yes.
You are physically connecting the bare skin of your feet to the earth while holding an earth element in your hand.
It's a double layer of sensory grounding.
Yeah. And if you are prone to disassociation or severe anxiety, the tactile feedback of cold dirt and a hard stone literally forces your brain back into your physical body.
It is a profound somatic technique. And beyond just general grounding, the rituals address highly specific physical ailments.
Right.
This is where the synthesis of intention and material gets localized and, frankly, quite fascinating.
This is exactly what I wanted to talk about next, because here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
The source explicitly recommends a crystal called lepidolite for sleep, specifically targeting severe insomnia and racing thoughts.
Yes.
And the text just casually notes that lepidolite is highly effective because it contains naturally occurring lithium.
Drops that in there.
I had to stop and read that twice. Because lithium is a trace mineral, yes, but it is also a highly established, heavily prescribed psychiatric medication.
Very heavily prescribed.
Known for its profound mood-stabilizing and soothing effects. The text seamlessly bridges the gap between mystical ritual and literal pharmacological mineralogy.
It is honestly one of the most compelling details in the entire source document.
It blew my mind.
Think about the implications of that.
Yeah.
Ancient practitioners, or even holistic healers from a few centuries ago, they did not have mass spectrometers.
No, obviously not.
They didn't have chemical analysis to break down the atomic structure of lepidolite to know why it worked.
Right.
But through generations of careful, empirical observation, just trial and error, they identified that holding, being near, or perhaps soaking this specific purple stone in water had a soothing property on the human nervous system.
It entirely validates the careful observation of early practitioners.
It really does.
Like they were doing rudimentary mineralogy and pharmacology just wrapped in the language of mysticism. They knew the what even if they didn't have the modern scientific vocabulary for the how.
Exactly. And today, we do have the vocabulary. We know it contains lithium, but the text still treats it as part of the holistic toolkit.
That's wild.
And there are other highly specific physical applications mentioned too.
Like what?
Well, the text suggests using blue apatite for suppressing appetite and boosting motivation for weight loss.
Oh, wow.
And it suggests using amethyst for headache and physical pain relief simply by placing the cool stone directly on the forehead.
which naturally brings us to the chakra balancing rituals.
Yes, a massive part of the text.
For those of you who might not be totally familiar, the text describes the chakras as a system of 7 main energy centers.
Right, aligned along the spine.
Exactly, from the base of the pelvis all the way to the top of the head. But what struck me wasn't just the energetic theory, it was how incredibly prescriptive the rituals are regarding the physical placement of the stones.
It is incredibly precise.
It's basically a full-body map.
It is. It's a map of human psychology mapped directly onto human anatomy. Let's walk through the architecture of this specific ritual because it reveals a lot about how these practices actually function as physical therapy.
Okay, starting at the bottom.
Right.
For the root chakra, which the text says governs our sense of safety, survival, and stability, you are instructed to place a piece of red jasper at the very base of your spine.
So think about what the root chakra represents in a modern context.
Okay.
It's our evolutionary fight or flight response. It's the feeling of being unmoored, perhaps dealing with financial insecurity or just the stress of the modern gig economy.
The baseline panic.
Exactly. By placing a heavy red stone at the base of the spine, you are drawing your physical awareness down to your center of gravity.
Right.
You are forcing yourself to feel anchored to the floor.
Moving up, the sacral chakra governs creativity and passion. And the text prescribes placing carnelian, which is this vibrant orange stone just below the navel.
Right in the center of the abdomen.
Yeah. Then, the solar plexus chakra, which is all about confidence and personal power. That one uses citrine placed directly on the stomach.
I want to pause on the solar plexus for a second.
Of course.
Placing citrine on the stomach is actually brilliant when you consider the enteric nervous system.
The what?
The enteric nervous system is what we often call our gut feeling.
Right.
Think about it. Where do we physically feel anxiety? Where do we feel a sudden lack of confidence?
We feel it as nausea.
Yes, we feel it in our stomachs.
Wow.
The ritual forces you to place a warm yellow stone right over the physical epicenter of your anxiety. It directs your conscious breathing to that exact spot to alleviate the physical symptom of a psychological lack of confidence.
That makes so much sense. I never thought about it like that.
It's very somatic.
Continuing up, the heart chakra utilizes rose quartz placed directly on the center of the chest to foster compassion and emotional healing.
Right.
And the throat chakra uses blue lace agate placed right on the throat to aid in communication and truth-telling.
And again, look at the physiology here.
Okay.
When we are lying or when we are terrified to speak our truth, what happens? Our vocal cords constrict.
Yeah, our throats literally feel tight.
Exactly.
Okay.
Placing a cooling blue stone on the throat draws your conscious attention to that muscular tension, prompting you to relax it.
Then we hit the third eye chakra.
Right between the eyes.
Yep. The text uses amethyst placed right between the eyebrows on the forehead to enhance intuition and mental clarity. And finally, the crown chakra uses clear quartz placed at the very top of the head for spiritual awareness and connection to the divine.
So, if we connect this to the bigger picture, think about what this chakra ritual physically requires you to do.
Well, you have to lie down.
Yes. To place these 7 stones, you cannot be moving around. You must lie completely still on your back.
Right.
You must focus your attention sequentially, moving from the base of your spine, inch by inch, all the way up to the crown of your head. These rituals essentially force the practitioner to perform a deep, meditative, full-body scan.
It's somatic therapy disguised as a magical practice.
It really is.
You are paying acute attention to where you are holding physical and emotional tension. Like, you literally cannot balance your throat chakra without stopping your day, lying down, and thinking, am I struggling to communicate right now? Does my throat feel tight?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It uses the stones as physical checkpoints for a psychological inventory.
That is so clever.
And the text also applies this localized approach to what we might call emotional triage.
Emotional triage.
Yeah. The rituals adapt based on the severity of the internal wound you're dealing with.
Okay, give me an example.
Well, for a standard broken heart or a painful breakup, the source prescribes morganite and rose quartz.
The pink stones.
Right. The goal there is gentle, nurturing energy to mend the emotional tearing. It's soft.
Makes sense.
But for profound grief, deep trauma, or psychic attacks, the text prescribes black tourmaline.
Oh, right. And the distinction there is fascinating.
Sure.
Because the text describes black tourmaline not as a gentle healer, but as an absolute vacuum.
A vacuum, yes.
It is an absorber. It is specifically used to absorb the heavy negative energy of grief.
Yes, because grief is a uniquely heavy, chaotic energy that feels impossible to carry.
It's overwhelming.
The psychological utility of this specific ritual cannot be overstated. When a person is drowning in grief, telling them to think positive is useless.
Oh, completely useless. It's actually insulting.
Exactly. But giving them a dense, pitch-black stone and instructing them to visualize all of their chaotic, dark energy being sucked out of their body and into the stone.
Oh, wow.
It gives the practitioner a visual and tactile mechanism to externalize their pain. It moves the grief from inside their chest to an object outside of their body, which they can then physically put down and walk away from.
That is heavy, but incredibly practical.
Very.
Okay, so we spent a lot of time looking at how crystals are used to fortify the self.
The internal work.
Right. We've talked about putting out internal fires, grounding the mind, scanning the body, and surviving grief.
Yes.
But what happens when you're no longer just surviving?
When you want to grow.
Exactly. The source material reveals that once that internal self is stabilized, the architecture of the rituals shifts dramatically.
They turn outward.
They are no longer just for healing. They are used to project intention outward. They are used to shape a person's reality, their career, their habits, and their external circumstances.
Right. We move from internal alchemy to external manifestation.
And manifestation is a huge part of this text.
It is a central, recurring theme, particularly regarding wealth, luck, and ambition. But for you listening, it is absolutely vital to understand how the text frames manifestation.
Because it's misunderstood.
Highly misunderstood. It is a word that gets thrown around a lot on social media as, like, passive wishing.
Right. Just thinking about a sports car until it magically appears in your driveway.
Exactly. The source material vehemently disagrees with that approach.
Yeah.
The rituals described for manifestation are highly active, structural, and behavioral.
So let's look at wealth and abundance, because the text has very specific protocols for this.
It does.
Citrine is repeatedly referred to as the merchant stone for attracting prosperity.
Yes.
And the rituals suggest creating a grid in your workspace with green aventurine, which it calls the stone of opportunity.
Right.
Or, my personal favorite, using pyrite, which is literally known as fool's gold, in a highly specific abundance candle ritual to promote business assertiveness.
The pyrite ritual is incredibly revealing about how this all works.
Walk us through it.
Okay, so the text requires the practitioner to set up a workspace altar. You light a green or gold candle representing financial growth.
Okay.
And you physically hold this heavy piece of pyrite. You are instructed to visualize the flame of the candle as you're expanding financial goals, and you must affirm your intentions aloud.
Out loud again.
Yes. Now, why pyrite? It's metallic, it's heavy, it looks like gold, but it's structured in these aggressive cubic formations. The text says pyrite promotes confidence, ambition, and assertiveness.
Right. And it's not that the pyrite stone magically alters the global economy or drops a bag of cash into your lap.
No, of course
Yeah,
not.
it's that interacting with the stone alters your psychological posture. You are priming your own brain to be more aggressive and assertive in business matters.
Exactly. It operates as a psychological trigger.
It's a tactile anchor.
Yes.
I was thinking about this when I read the text. Carrying a piece of pyrite or citrine to a high-stakes business meeting or like a salary negotiation, it's exactly like wearing your lucky tie or putting on your most expensive, well-tailored power suit.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
Right. It's an environmental cue. Every time you reach into your pocket and your hand brushes against that cold, hard, geometric stone,
Your brain registers it.
your brain is instantly interrupted and reminded of the intention you set that morning at your altar. I am confident, I am assertive, I deserve this deal, I am not backing down.
Precisely. You are using a physical object to keep a highly specific behavioral goal active in the forefront of your conscious mind.
Instead of just forgetting it.
Right. Rather than letting it slip to the back burner when the stress of the negotiation hits.
What?
And the text takes this concept of a tactile anchor even further by suggesting the creation of a Lucky Charm crystal bag.
Oh, a bag. Yes.
You are instructed to combine citrine, green aventurine, and pyrite in a small cloth pouch and carry it on your person constantly.
Like in your purse or pocket.
Exactly. It is a physical, weighty reminder of your intentions that you interact with all day long.
And this active manifestation isn't just for wealth.
No.
It's for ambition and severe behavioral change, too. The text details rituals specifically designed for breaking bad habits.
Which is incredibly practical.
Very. It suggests using orange calcite to generate a surge of motivation, and carnelian to boost the raw courage needed to finally break a destructive cycle.
And here's the part that blew my mind about that section.
What?
The ritual specifically instructs the practitioner to create a visual habit tracker on paper and place these specific crystals right next to it on your desk.
Yes, that part was amazing.
That is a stunning integration of modern behavioral psychology with ancient esoteric practice.
It really is.
A habit tracker is a standard, evidence-based psychological tool used in cognitive behavioral therapy.
Because you get to check the boxes.
Exactly. It provides a dopamine hit every time you check off a box. By instructing the practitioner to place the carnelian, the stone of courage, directly next to the habit tracker, the ritual bridges the mystical energy of the crystal with the practical, daily, unglamorous discipline required to actually change human behavior.
So think about a modern bad habit, like doom scrolling on your phone at 2 a.m.
We all do it.
Right.
Right.
You know you should stop, but you're trapped in the loop. The habit tracker is your logical brain trying to stop it.
Yeah.
But placing the carnelian next to it makes the habit tracker sacred. It elevates it.
It gives it weight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just a piece of paper that you can ignore anymore. It becomes a physical altar to your own self-improvement. When you reach for your phone, you see the stone, you remember the ritual, and it provides just enough friction to break the digital loop.
And that is the true functional power of these external manifestation rituals.
They aren't passive.
Not at all. They require visualization. They require an emotional connection where you actually try to feel the joy of success before it happens.
Right.
And most importantly, they require regular daily interaction with the crystals to ensure that your external actions perfectly align with your internal desires.
Okay, so we've mapped out how these crystal rituals guide our internal healing.
Yeah.
And we've seen how they structure our daily personal goals, from sleeping better with lepidolite to getting a promotion with pyrite and breaking bad habits with carnelian.
It covers a lot of ground.
It does.
Yeah.
But the text doesn't stop there.
No, it goes much, much bigger.
It takes this entire framework and scales it up to a massive degree. It doesn't just keep these rituals confined to our bedrooms or our daily planners.
No.
It integrates these personal rituals into the grand cyclical rhythms of the cosmos.
This is where the scope of the practices becomes breathtaking, really.
It's huge.
The text details how crystal rituals are intimately tied to the calendar, to the shifting of the seasons, and to massive celestial events. It insists that human beings are not separate from the solar system. And it uses the rituals to force an alignment.
And it starts with the most visible celestial body, right? The moon.
Yes, the lunar cycles.
And the moon phases dictate completely different, opposing rituals.
Entirely different.
According to the text, full moons are times of culmination. The energy is at its absolute peak, shining brightly in the dark.
Right.
This phase is for releasing old patterns that no longer serve you. The ritual suggests charging your cleansing crystals in the bright moonlight and performing a ceremony where you write down your deepest fears or your toxic traits on a piece of paper.
And then what do?
You physically burn that paper while holding a piece of selenite.
Ah, selenite. Selenite is vital there.
Why selenite?
The text describes selenite as one of the most highly purifying stones in the compendium.
Okay.
It's often translucent white, resembling the moon itself.
Yeah.
The psychology here is about confronting illumination.
Right, because the moon is fully illuminated.
Exactly. The full moon illuminates the night sky, and the ritual forces you to illuminate your own dark traits, acknowledge them, and actively destroy them through the element of fire.
All while holding a stone that represents a pure, cleansed slate.
Yes.
Conversely, the text details rituals for the new moon.
The dark moon.
The new moon is the dark phase. The sky is black, but the text frames this not as emptiness, but as fertile ground.
It's the beginning.
Right. It is a time for planting seeds of desire. The ritual here uses black moonstone, aligning the dark, unseen, mysterious potential of the new moon with the deep inner self.
You are matching the sky.
Exactly. You sit in the literal darkness of your room and set intentions for what will slowly grow over the coming 28-day cycle.
You are matching your psychological state of anticipation with the literal astronomical state of the moon.
It's beautiful, honestly.
It is. And then the text moves from the predictable monthly cycles
Yes.
to the rare chaotic events.
Like solar eclipses. This section was wild to me The text actually issues a warning against charging your crystals in direct eclipse sunlight.
It says do not do it.
Yeah. It treats eclipse energy as highly volatile, unpredictable, and almost dangerous. It says the energy is too chaotic to store in a stone for daily use.
Right.
But it does suggest holding a piece of clear quartz during the actual moments of the eclipse.
To do what?
To actively harness that intense chaotic energy for sudden, massive structural transformations in your life.
It's a profound way of contextualizing astronomical events.
Oh, so?
Well, think about the ancient world.
Right.
A solar eclipse was terrifying.
Oh, absolutely. The sun just vanishing.
Right. The sun disappearing during the day triggered a visceral, existential panic.
Yeah.
The ritual acknowledges that spike in adrenaline and chaos. By holding clear quartz, which is the ultimate amplifier stone during an eclipse, you are taking that feeling of universal upheaval and directing it.
Directing it where?
Toward a part of your life that needs to be completely torn down and rebuilt. You are using the chaos, not hiding from it.
Oh, wow. That is intense.
It is.
And then the text goes even deeper into the rhythms of the earth with the Wheel of the Year.
Also known as the Sabbats.
Right, the Sabbats. These are ancient, earth-based agrarian festivals that mark the turning of the seasons.
Yes.
And the text assigns a highly specific crystal ritual to every single spoke on this wheel.
The Sabbats are a perfect example of how the macro environment influences micro-human behavior.
Okay, let's walk through these. Because they paint a vivid picture of, psychological endurance and celebration.
Okay, where do we start?
Let's start with Samhain, which falls around October 31st.
What most people know is Halloween.
Exactly. The text says that during Samhain, the earth is dying as winter approaches, and the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead is at its thinnest.
Okay.
The prescribed ritual uses obsidian.
Obsidian is a dark, heavy, reflective volcanic glass. It is formed by rapid cooling of lava. The ritual involves using obsidian to honor ancestors, confront mortality, and provide psychological protection while you engage in deep reflection or divination.
It's a heavy stone for a heavy time of year.
Exactly.
Ugh.
It is a stone that forces you to look into the void and find grounding.
Then we move to Yuletide, the winter solstice in late December.
The longest night.
It is the longest, darkest night of the year. But crucially, it also marks the moment the light begins to return.
The days start getting longer.
Right. The ritual involves creating an altar with evergreen branches, which symbolize life persisting through the freeze.
And what stone?
And placing red jasper among them.
Think about seasonal affective disorder for a second.
Okay.
The deep psychological need for a return of light festival during the darkest, coldest part of the year is a human universal. We need that hope.
We really do.
Red jasper is a warm, deeply nurturing stone. Placing it on an altar with evergreens is a visual, psychological promise to yourself that you have the endurance to survive the harsh winter. It symbolizes the blood and heat of life persisting under the snow.
That is so evocative.
It is.
Imbolc comes next, around February 1st or 2nd.
Right.
The text frames this as the grueling wait for spring. You are exhausted by winter, but you can see the first tiny signs of a thaw.
The very beginning of the melt.
Right. The ritual uses snow quartz to symbolize the melting snow and the pure, untouched potential of the coming spring.
Which then blossoms fully into Beltane on May 1st.
Yes. Beltane is historically a festival of fertility, explosive biological growth, and raw passion. The earth is waking up aggressively.
It's spring in full force.
The ritual here completely changes tone. It is incredibly active. The text describes jumping over a bonfire.
Literally jumping over fire.
Literally. Or, in a safer modern context, passing a piece of carnelian over a candle flame.
Carnelian again.
Yes, the orange stone of courage and vitality. You are literally passing it through fire to ignite your own dopamine, your own creativity, and your passion to break completely out of the winter stagnation and embrace the summer.
That is fantastic.
And finally, the text covers Lughnasadh in August and Mabon at the autumn equinox.
The harvest festivals.
Right. The hard work of the summer is done, and it is time to reap what you have sown. The rituals focus heavily on gratitude for abundance.
Using what stones?
Using stones like moss agate, which represents agricultural and personal growth, and tiger's eye, a stone that flashes with light and dark bands.
Oh, to balance the light and dark.
Exactly. Used to balance the shifting light as the days get shorter and we head back toward winter.
This entire section raises a really important question for you listening.
What's that?
Think about how modern life often completely divorces us from the natural seasons.
It really does.
We wake up in climate-controlled homes. We drive in climate-controlled cars to climate-controlled offices with artificial fluorescent light.
Yeah.
We can buy strawberries at the supermarket in January.
Mm-hmm.
We have lost the visceral physical connection to the turning of the earth.
Completely lost it.
These seasonal crystal rituals, using specific stones to mark the solstices and equinoxes, serve as a profound mechanism to plug humans back into the rhythm of the planet.
They force you to pay attention.
They force you to look out the window and acknowledge that it is winter, or to look up and realize the moon is full.
They combat the homogenization of time.
Yes. When every day feels exactly the same, time moves too quickly. The rituals create friction.
So what does this all mean for us? Think about the modern tradition of setting a New Year's resolution on January 1st.
It's usually a disaster.
Right. It often feels completely arbitrary. You're just picking a day on a printed Gregorian calendar because society told you to.
And the weather is terrible.
The weather is miserable. And you are trying to force a massive lifestyle change when you just want to hibernate.
Exactly.
But imagine taking the architecture of these rituals and aligning a goal with Ostara, the spring equinox.
When things are actually growing.
The earth is naturally waking up.
Mm-hmm.
The ritual has you physically planting an actual seed in the soil alongside a green aventuring crystal.
You are linking your psychological goal of personal growth with the literal biological growth of the earth around you.
Yes. It takes a fleeting, easily forgotten thought and turns it into a multi-sensory, unforgettable event.
It roots your personal ambition in the physical reality of the planet's orbit.
That's a great way to say it.
It scales mindfulness from the micro level, like a daily habit tracker on your desk, to the absolute macro level, the movement of the solar system itself.
It gives your goals planetary weight.
It really does.
I have to ask you directly, for everyone listening, how often do you actually notice the phase of the moon?
Probably not often.
How often do you really feel the shift of the equinox in your bones, beyond just noticing that it got dark earlier?
Right.
Integrating just one of these seasonal rituals with a crystal could entirely shift how you experience the passing of a year.
It would change everything.
It stops time from just being a blur of endless work weeks and turns it into a structured, meaningful cycle of growth, harvest, and rest.
And that ultimately is the highest utility of everything we've discussed today.
Yeah.
The entire architecture of these rituals, from the cleansing to the grids to the lunar tracking, is designed to demand our active, conscious participation in our own lives.
So to synthesize this massive historical and psychological journey we've just taken,
We covered a lot.
we did. Crystal rituals offer a deeply structured, historically rooted framework for almost every conceivable human need.
Yes.
We have seen how it stretches from ancient Egyptian pharaohs burying their dead with protective lapis lazuli to a modern person burning dragon's blood incense and holding lepidolite to soothe their nervous system.
Incredible span of time.
We have seen how it scales from building precise citrine grids on a desk to manifest career ambition, all the way to jumping over Beltane fires with carnelian in hand to celebrate the Earth's orbit.
They are not passive magical items.
No, they are complex psychological tools that demand our absolute focus, our intentionality, and our deep mindfulness.
They are tangible, heavy anchors for our intangible, fleeting desires. They give our hopes and our traumas physical form.
But I want to leave you with one final provocative thought.
Okay.
Something that isn't explicitly spelled out in the source material, but is built entirely on the mechanics it describes.
What is it?
Throughout the text, it is repeatedly emphasized that crystals absorb negative energy. They act as emotional sponges, soaking up our grief, our daily stress, our chaotic vibrations.
That's the core of the cleansing rituals.
And that is exactly why the text insists they must be regularly cleansed in moonlight or salt water or smoke.
They hold the heavy psychological weight that we can no longer carry ourselves.
But if we look at this through the lens of human psychology, if these stones are simply inanimate objects reflecting and absorbing our own projected mental states back to us,
Right.
it forces us to wonder about the end of the ritual.
What do you mean?
When you finally finish the process, when you have meticulously cleansed the stone, tracked the moon, set the intention, and you finally sit quietly on your file holding a perfectly clear, cool piece of quartz,
Yeah.
are you really feeling the magical vibration of the crystal? Or are you actually just feeling the profound, overwhelming, incredibly rare relief of your own exhausted mind finally being given permission to be perfectly still?
A mirror to our own immense capacity for peace.
Thank you for taking this deep dive with us today. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep learning.